At some point I was dealing with the bracket system for the Low Rider S. It didn't come with it, so rather than buy the bracket system, I just zip tied it together, made it work. It didn't go nowhere, but at some point, of course, I did buy the bracket system because I knew it had to be done right. So it sat there, and eventually I put it on knowing that this would be my last night with the Low Rider S. But even though I put the official bracket on the fairing because of course somebody bought the bike, the zip ties, it didn't go nowhere. So I guess you could say either method would work, but of course we're gonna do it the right way. But I also recently I upgraded my toolbox. So my wife, she helped me put the tools from the old box in the new box. Don't worry, I put it to work, but she likes doing this kind of stuff, but we had a good time. But me, sitting on the bike knowing that this would be my last night with the Low Rider S. It's bittersweet, people. All right, folks, today is bittersweet. It's my last day and last few hours with the Low Rider S. So the best way I can send this thing off is obviously to go for a ride on it. So let's do that.
Favorite roads. It's definitely a bittersweet day for me, man. As much as I, love this bike, had to sell it. But for those of you that are not in the know, I bought this bike from the Copart auction. It was in a salvage state, and essentially I rebuilt the bike. Outside of the body work and the paint, I pretty much did everything. The whole reason I even bought this bike, man, is I had the Low Rider ST press event. That was my first time riding a Low Rider, the Low Rider platform. And of course I have a lot of experience with Indian Chief, so I was like, getting a Low Rider S, it just kind of makes sense to rebuild. So I got the bike, rebuilt it, and I've been enjoying it ever since. And I haven't done as much work with this bike as I would have liked to, as far as like, taking the rear wheel off, dealing with some of the engine work with the Milwaukee 8, dealing with some of the suspension. But it's one of those things where, my whole goal for this bike was to buy the bike, fix it, and sell it. That was the goal because I'm building up towards something bigger, right? But the stuff that I've done to the Milwaukee 8 engine is still not to be kind of, brushed off. I did change a crankshaft position sensor because this one, while it was working, it was leaking, which caused this bike to have an oil leak. Very simple fix, easy to do. And then from there I did the engine oil change, I did the primary oil change, and I also did the transmission oil change. Now I probably didn't have to do the primary and the transmission, but this bike has 11,700-ish miles on it, and it's a 2022. It kind of just made sense to do it all at the same time, even if it wasn't necessary, right? So I would like to think that I would get another Low Rider S. I was trying to get an ST, went and saw one at the Copart auction lot, and it just did not, the stars just did not align. So because of that, I just had to kind of wait to see what comes up next. I'll tell you what though, having this bike, it just made me appreciate the Milwaukee 8 platform a lot more, and of course air-cooled, primarily air-cooled bikes. This bike does have an oil cooler on it to cool the heads. But when people say like, oh, these Harleys are slow, dude, this the torque on this thing is just immense. I gotta be careful because there's a lot of deer through here. This torque will get you in a lot of trouble. And I'm just at this point where, man, if there's a bike that I want and I see people going back and forth online about, like, you know, the Indian's better in this way, the Harley's better in this way, and this is primarily why I kind of just stopped. I would rather give you an experience of how the bike feels to me, rather than try to directly compare the bike to something else. Because unfortunately, with the Low Rider S in the garage, I can't compare it. I mean, I can compare it to anything, but trying to compare the Low Rider S to, say, my Super Chief, either the ABS or the Limited, is not entirely fair to the Chief, and it's not entirely fair to the Low Rider S, because the Low Rider S has dual front end as far as Brembo brakes and everything, so the brake feel is a lot better on this bike, right? But I've always said also that the front end on the Chief never really bothered me with the single rotor, but then you get the Sport Chief with the inverted forks, and of course the Low Rider S has the inverted forks too. It just changes the whole dynamic of this bike. Like, I don't care who you are. If you get on this bike and you say, like, this bike isn't fast, I immediately just tune you out. This bike is fast. Like, this bike, one of the comparisons I can make to the Indian Chief platform is, of course, you have the power modes. Power modes on Indian, you got Tour. There's a lot of deer that actually come through here. Tour, Standard, and Sport. Where Sport is like, it wants to go. There is no play in the throttle response compared to Standard and Tour. Standard is what the bike pretty much is always in, right, for most people. Tour, you put it in there if you really just want to chill ride, you want to save some gas, and of course if it's wet out, you don't have to worry about trying to spin the tire. But on this Low Rider S with this 117, this bike feels like it's always in sport mode. If you are not careful, this bike will spin the tire, like, easily. It's easy to do burnouts on this thing. This is one of the main reasons why this bike, being the Dyna successor, it is huge in the stunt bike community. Like, it does this stuff effortlessly. And that was with 114s and 107s, and now this bike has a 117. That's a 1900cc engine, bro. This is a lot of engine. But this thing dances in the curves effort, like, it's no effort, bro. Just throw it in. Like, the new owner of this bike, they've already, I think he said he spent like $3,000 to $4,000 in parts before the bike even gets there. He wants to put the ST fairing on, and I think it's gonna change this bike even more, man. He already has a fairing on his Indian Chief, so now that he's gonna have a Low Rider S, he can also compare. And honestly, man, I think he's gonna like the power delivery of the Low Rider S compared to the Chief. I actually prefer the power delivery on the Low Rider S compared to the Chief. The sport mode, man, even though this feels like sport mode, I feel like the delivery is a lot better. Sport mode gets a little scary on Chief. So this, I love this bike, man. I love the way this thing dances, dude. You gotta be careful right here. It's some dirt. It's cold out. My tires are warmed up, but still. Don't want to take any chances right before the bike's getting picked up, right? Yeah, I felt the tire slip out a little bit just then. Yeah, man, this bike, look at that. Yeah, that dirt. This bike's incredible, man. I think this was definitely a great buy. I definitely want more M8-based machines. I was going to put a cam in here, but right when I was getting ready to do that, Nathan came up and said, you know, hey man, I want to buy the bike from you, and because of that I just decided, hey, there's no point in me doing it, let's go ahead and sell it. Look at the horsies. Hello horsies. Hello horses. You guys are so beautiful. My goodness, you are stunning. How about that? I'm gonna leave you guys alone. I don't want to interrupt your dinner or lunch, breakfast, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna turn around. Leave the horses alone. They not bothering me. All right, horses. Yeah, they start to leave. Oops, I threw a code. acting up. I gotta clear it when I get to the crib. No problem. It pops up from time to time. Yes! Dance, baby, dance! My goodness, this thing. Dance, you animal. You dance for me. You dance, baby, you dance. Let's get this thing home, man. I can do this all day. I don't have all day, unfortunately.
Alright, let's figure out this engine code right quick. Of course, I gotta take the tag off because it follows me. It doesn't follow the bike. So, yeah, I got a few minutes. Transport will be here in an hour. Yeah. I don't know if you guys can see that, but the code I'm getting is U0141H. Typically that code comes from when you lean the bike over, sometimes doing low speed stuff, it'll trigger that code. And also if the wires get pinched in the left control hand module, it's a simple code. When I got into the settings of the bike, it came up with a speedo. So the ECM said yes on the code, the BCM said yes on the code, and also the speedo said yes on the code. So it's something simple. And once I clear this code, if I start the bike up and the engine light goes off, that means it doesn't detect any issues. If you have a code and you try to clear it and it doesn't go off, then you got a bigger issue. ECM no, BCM no, speedo no. So we're gonna power the bike off. Power it back on. When I start this, the code should go away. Like I said, something absolutely silly. Nothing wrong with the bike. So I'm gonna pull the bike out so when the transporter gets here, they'll see it when they pull up. I'm gonna get this thing loaded. Last time, baby. There we go. Or did I pull this in the right way?
What was that?
I said, did I pull it in the right way?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. I left the keys zip tied to it. Where you coming from?
Today?
Yeah.
Oh, where did I start this morning? Dolphin.
Dolphin, okay. That's not too far.
Nah, just a few stops in between, you know.
Super cool.
Now for a transport mode, otherwise the battery gonna be dead.
Oh, taught me something there. I never thought to do that. Glad I'm not transporting because everybody's bike would be dead.
Yeah, it's only the Harleys, you know. Engines don't have that.
Holy cow, he has this thing high up in the air. Man, it's crazy. Goodbye. Dapped up a new friend, Tobias. All right, man. Nathan, your Low Rider S is on the way, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna miss that bike. All right, all we got now is the Super Chief Limited, and the Magnum. The Low Rider S is officially gone. All right, so all I really have left is the Super Chief, because the Super Chief Limited will be out of here in a couple of days. So with all this space, I need to fill it with more bikes. So I'm gonna head to the Copart lot, see if I can find some more bikes. So until next time, thanks for watching as always. Hope you learned something, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.